Boys, Ryjack back here with another live stream today. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of Man City transfer news. I see some boys in the chat already. Hussein, welcome in the chat, my guy. I'm about to get to your comments here shortly. Now, before we do start, guys, we're well over 400 subs now. Very much appreciated. It's awesome. Good to see, of course. If you're new, hit the sub. If you're interested in short form content instead of this, I have TikTok and Instagram for that. Check out my Twitter. All those links are in my channel description. And we have a Discord, Man City fans. A lot of people have been joining that lately, so check it out if you're interested. Now, we need to talk about the transfer news, guys. There's a lot going on. So I'm going to start with these chats here. Hussein says, by the way, I was in Google and I saw this news saying Donnarumma deal in jeopardy. This really worries me. Hussein, my guy, not gonna lie, the deal does seem to be maybe a hold-up, I'll say. He says, do you think we could still sign Donnarumma and sell Ederson? Hope we do. Well, they are connected. Those two deals are connected for sure. If Ederson stays, Donnarumma does not come. If Ederson leaves, Donnarumma, in my opinion, comes in. I think it still probably favors that Ederson does go and Donnarumma comes in. Donnarumma is not going to stay at PSG, it seems. It seems unlikely. He said he's not interested in the Manchester United move. He only wants Man City. So I think if City are super interested in this deal, they will accept whatever the fee is going to be for Ederson and then get Donnarumma over the line, I think. Although I do think Trafford was pretty good at the weekend in general. Why did we decide to keep Savinho? That means we won't get Rodrigo. I will talk about that. It's a great point. I don't know that it's 100% true, but I'll see. I genuinely hate the club. It's pissing me off. Well, don't say you hate the club. That's a bit harsh. I hope you don't hate the club, my guy. We've done a lot of good. There's maybe some things that are annoying, but we have done pretty good in general over the last decade or so. All Things Football is in the chat. Says sup with this nice new profile pic. Can't have the Savinho, but I guess you could maybe. Maybe have him now. Maybe he's staying, so who knows. He says W's in the chat. Get Ederson out of here. I'm happy to keep Savio, but I'll be sad to miss out on Rodrigo. Yeah, I would be sad as well. I do think it's Savinho out, Rodrigo in, but again, same situation as Ederson. If Savinho stays, Rodrigo is not coming in. It's not happening. You cannot accommodate both of them. That's because Ederson's transfer isn't confirmed to leave. Yeah, correct. He is not quite confirmed at the moment. Do you think we will sign Donnarumma and sell Ederson? I still think this is going to happen. I think it's maybe 60% chance. I don't think it's guaranteed 100% for sure. He says, why is Man City taking so long? It's a good question. I don't know that we're purposely taking so long. As far as the issue with selling Savinho right now, I think partly it is involved is that we play them on Saturday. I don't think that one. I think it's difficult with us playing them on Saturday. So maybe after the game things pick up. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. And All Things Football says, I hope so too, man. I hope so too. So let me pull up these tweets here so we can just look at everything. I got my dog barking in the back. She's just upset because it's raining real good here. Man City have decided, according to Guillaume Balak, which is I don't know if he's a really good source technically, but it just says that he's got 1 million followers. He's tight with Pep. He's got a good relationship with him. So I don't know. I don't know that this is necessarily fact. I know a couple other people like Alex Crook, who is generally pretty good. And I think it was Ben Jacobs said, according to City Extra, that they've also put out that Savinho is staying because Pep wants him to stay. That's the situation at the moment. So, I don't know. Yeah, he says 50-50. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. That's true, man. I'm uncertain on this deal. I think of the two at the moment, Donnarumma is probably more likely than Rodrigo is. But again, guys, there's still multiple weeks left of this transfer window. It's the 18th of August. We have until, I think, September 1st, August 31st, whatever it is, something like that. So we've 2 weeks. We got some time. You also have to think about this tweet right here. Below is the bench against Wolves. You have all these players missing out, so it's tough when we have more players coming back healthy. The squad is going to be so big, and I refer back to this tweet right here. Guardiola reiterating the squad is too big. It's not healthy. You can't create a good vibe. Pep wants the vibes, guys. He wants the vibes. So that's the issue at the moment. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Pep wanted Alvarez to stay. That's true, man. He wanted Alvarez to stay, and Alvarez ended up leaving. So if Savinho really pushes for this move, I don't think the fact that Pep wanting him to stay is going to hinder the deal necessarily. I mean, it could. It always could. You never know 100%. But Hugo Viana is in charge, technically now, of the sporting decisions. If he thinks Rodrigo is the one he wants to bring in and we can get a deal done with PSG, with Real Madrid, and he thinks he can get a deal done with Spurs, then I think it'll happen. But you got to think as well, City and Spurs are not exactly don't have the best relationship. Daniel Levy is part of the cohort of higher-ups in the clubs in the Premier League that tried to, push the 115 situation. They did business back with Kyle Walker, and Levy said he would never do business with City again because he felt he got ripped off. So, I don't know. There was the Harry Kane situation with Spurs, so I don't think there's very good relationship between Spurs and City. And I think it's both ways. I don't think it's just Daniel Levy doesn't like City and City just don't care. I think City also don't enjoy talking with him either. So, I think that's a big part of it. Like, you also got to think, like, Savinho for 70 plus million, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And he's only 21, whatever. And he only scored like 2 goals in the Prem last year. I don't know that if I was the buying club, I would be doing that personally. I don't know. So it's weird. Witherspoon says, Livy wears clown shoes. Yeah, my guy. Livy is the worst to deal with, Like, these handshake agreements with players, who knows? Maybe he had a handshake agreement with Savinho, and Savinho thinks it's done. That's why he's not in training, and then it turns out he hasn't even spoken to City yet. So who knows? It's a difficult one when you're dealing with Spurs. If it was another club, like, I hesitate to say Arsenal because I don't think we would sell directly to Arsenal now, but back when we were a little less concerned about them and we were doing business with them, it seemed easy. They had good relations. Pep and Mikel are good friends. I think that goes a long way versus Daniel Levy and Khaldoon are like not friends at all. They probably really dislike each other. So I think that makes it a little bit more complicated. Unfortunate as it is, that is the case, I think. So next tweet right here is one of these Turkish sources. Guy has 1.9 million followers, guys. So I'm going out on a limb to say he knows a thing or two. Do I know who this is? Yagiz Sabuçoğlu. That's my best attempt at a pronunciation there. I'm going to say I've never heard of this guy in my life, but these Turkish sources all summer have said major things about Ederson. That's happening, blah, 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 whatever. So I don't know that I necessarily believe them, but following that news, we did see Fabrizio put his name on it as well for Akanji. So it's totally legit. Fabrizio is not going to say Galatasaray approached City for Akanji as a potential target, and the decision is up to Akanji. That's not being said if this didn't happen, in my opinion. So I think this deal is on. I know it's early. We just got the news today, but I'm saying that it's a possibility for sure. If Akanji gets the feeling that maybe he's out of the rotation a bit, it is a World Cup year, maybe he takes the choice and leaves. Hussein says, when do you think we will get a here we go for Ederson to Galatasaray and Donnarumma to Man City? Here we go is difficult because I think the telltale sign is if this weekend Ederson is out of the squad again. If he's out of the squad again for sickness or he's ill or whatever, I think the deal's still on. If he plays this weekend, I think deal's off. That's my take. So if Ederson doesn't play, we probably don't get any movement this week. If he doesn't play, though, we'll get it the following week. If we see, news either way, maybe this week, I don't know. I still think the deal happens, and I don't think it's this week. I think it's the following week, if I had to go on like a guess. And then Donnarumma to City will be like basically within the same day or so, I would think. I think if Fabrizio's the one tweeting it, he's going to like combo the tweet. Ederson done, Donnarumma done. And maybe because there's separate deals happening, that's what's taking so long. There's also that possibility as well, that it's more than just one singular deal because they hinge on each other. So City are negotiating with PSG. They're negotiating with Galatasaray. Ederson's negotiating with Galatasaray. Donnarumma's negotiating with City. So like there's a lot of moving parts in this situation. That could be a reason that it's taking so long. And I still don't think there's time or reason to panic yet. And even if Ederson stays, like there's no reason to panic. We're still in a great spot. Like Donnarumma is an upgrade in terms of shot stopping, but a downgrade in terms of distribution. So is it a net positive? Is it a net negative? I don't know that it's like a massive game changer signing. I think we're still good either way, in my personal opinion. There is also some news I will put up here on the screen. Let me pull it up. Right here. Diogo Costa. Galatasaray have made an official offer of $20 million and add-ons for Diogo Costa. This is the backup to the Ederson deal. So should the Ederson deal fall through, Galatasaray want Diogo Costa, who's a guy that City were linked with even. So you know how City were quoted, I think, $60 million. So this is not happening. $20 million for this guy is clearly not enough. They wanted 60 from us. So I doubt that needs to go way up, and maybe Porto need to come way down for this to work. But this also from Pletigol, again, a semi-good source. I don't think he's fantastic. So I don't know. They still want Ederson as a priority. Ederson is the number one choice for Galatasaray, but they have to have a backup in case this deal falls through. This could be also just agent talk, putting some pressure on City to get the deal done, saying, I know you want 20 million or whatever, but we're willing to go to Diogo Costa and get Porto, and you'll get no one, and you don't get Donnarumma. So maybe that, I don't want to say like lights a fire under City's butt, but there's also that possibility as well that this news is directly related to the Ederson talks, because maybe Galatasaray are frustrated, maybe they want this deal done now so they can get him on the team. The Ederson situation is so weird. No English sources put their name on it. Even when Fabrizio did, he emphasized my understanding and complicated. That's a good point. It's a weird situation, guys. It's really a weird spot to be in. Who isn't a downgrade in distribution? This is another point. Ederson, I say anyone. I have not watched the entirety of world football, so I don't know for sure, but I'm going to guess and put it out there. Ederson's the best distribution keeper in world football today. So anyone that we buy who replaces him is automatically a downgrade in distribution. And Donnarumma is, let's say he's an average distribution keeper or somewhat below average. I think people go over the top with this. He's the worst ball kicker of all time to ever exist. Like, people go as far to say Donna can't kick. I've seen that from some people. Like, that is a bit over the top to me. I think he's a good enough distributor. And the other thing that comes to mind is PSG played sexy, free-flowing football. I loved watching PSG. And do you have to have a heavy distribution keeper to do that? I don't know, but PSG had Donnarumma, and they played amazing football every time I watched them this year. So clearly it's possible. Like, are we saying Pep can't figure it out? I don't think we should be saying that. I think the Donnarumma deal will get done. PSG have to get him off the books, and City don't have to sell Ederson. This is true. I still think, guys, it's going to get done. I'm a little less confident maybe than I was like right after the Fabrizio Bombo from a couple of days ago, but I still think it's going to happen. I was in Google, and the post was from 3 hours ago saying a meeting took place between Donnarumma's agents and Man City, according to Fabrizio and DAZN. That's probably true. I would think that they have spoken. I think there was a report that Pep and Donnarumma spoke personally, like maybe over the phone or in person. I don't know. But it definitely seems plausible that this could have happened for sure. Please sell Ederson and sign Donnarumma. All right. You can see that is that Pep is moving away from the goal. He's good at his feet. It's all about defender and a goal as a goalkeeper going forward. I kind of agree with that. I think Ederson, while he's been great for us, I definitely agree with the logic of he's cost us, and there's that whole theory of like first shot against Ederson goes in every time. There is a stat out there. I know I saw it, and it was like it was something about the percentage of first shots on goal to go in against Man City is incredibly higher compared to the next team in that stat. And I don't have the stat in front of me, so maybe I'm just BS in here, but I swear I remember seeing that stat, and I was like, wow, that's unfortunate. So Donnarumma, clearly an upgrade in goalkeeping ability, hand saving and whatnot. He is incredible at that. Always has been. Let's see, chats here. We still need to sell Ederson. I agree. This is true. We definitely need to sell Ederson, and I think we will. Still a lot of time left in the window, guys. Mikano says Ederson versus Alisson was a debate 4 years ago. That is true. There was a long debate about who's the best keeper in the league, and I think at least now it has died off a bit, and it's pretty clear that people say Alisson is the best keeper in the Prem at least. I think personally Courtois has been the best keeper in the world for the last couple of years. And then I think it's like Alisson, and then below that is Donnarumma, probably. Ederson has definitely, in my opinion, dropped in quality, unfortunately, over the last few years. And I think many City fans feel that way. Maybe if you're like a fan of another team and you only watch sometimes, maybe that's a little bit different for your perception of City, just because Ederson's been the keeper here for so long now, and everybody just knows, like, in general, that he's a good keeper. But I think if you watch game in, game out, like the City fans do, people will admit that Ederson has inability gone downhill slightly. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. It just happens. Like, he's 32 years old. He's not going to be as good as he was when he was, 28, even though keepers do play a bit longer, I guess, compared to other positions. Pep's definitely changing it up. The team played unrecognizable for me. Really? You think it was unrecognizable? I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. Trafford didn't really do, I guess, the short passing maybe as much. He did a couple long balls. He made that one really nice ball to Reinders in the game. I thought that was nice from Trafford. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a slow transition to maybe playing through center backs a little bit more, which is fine. I back what my manager says. I'm not the guy who's going to sit here and be like, I know better than Pep. I mean, who am I kidding? Like, I don't. Clearly, I don't. I have my opinion, but it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say Pep's doing it wrong. I don't know. I believe in Trafford. He could bring the fight to Don if he joins. He played good. It is true. He did play really well. He could bring the fight to Donnarumma. The only question I guess I have is Trafford's on what, like $50K a week? Donnarumma's going to be on $200 to $250 a week. That I don't like the argument that you're paying a guy so much you have to play him, because technically that's not true. You don't have to play him. You're already paying him no matter what you do. The most important thing is winning. So technically we can play Trafford and not play Donnarumma, and if that means we win more games, obviously that's better, and you just deal with the contract stuff at the end. It's called the sunk cost fallacy, which I think a lot of fans struggle to deal with. They just assume because you pay a guy so much, you have to play them. You don't have to play them, but it does maybe mean that the manager or the team is more likely to play them. That's definitely a thing. Ederson, like Ter Stegen, dropped off fast from the hype. That's true. Ter Stegen was up there as well as like a top quality keeper and just massive tank. I don't know what happened to him, but that's a great point for sure. Mikano, great point. Get the likes up. Thanks in advance. Let's build up the algorithm. Thank you, Witherspoon. Appreciate it, my guy. Yeah, people, if you're new, sub. We got like 15 people in here. Very nice. I do appreciate it. Hit me with a sub if you're new. Check out the Discord as well if you're a City fan and want to be part of the group chat. I have that in the channel description as well. 50-50. Fixed a lot of problems except the right back and the counterattacks. The right back situation is interesting. There's a lot of Rico Lewis noise out there. I think that one is not happening. There was news that he's declined the move, and I'm fine with it. Like, I thought it was really good against Wolves. I think the link up on the right-hand side with Rico and Oscar Bob is really, really good and promising, because Rico can be the one that inverts, and then Bob can kind of stay far and wide, versus like Nunez. When Nunez and Bob play, I think Nunez is going to be in the same area as Oscar Bob, and it doesn't maybe work as well, which is why I think Nunez and Foden will play on the right-hand side potentially. So that's just my opinion, and I also am an Oscar Bob lover. I love that guy. What a player. Steven says, think we're making a mistake not selling Savinho and upgrading to Rodrigo, but he'll need to improve his finishing as Savinho. This is facts, Steven. I 100% am with this. If the option to Man City is sell Savinho and buy Rodrigo for the upgrade, I say yes. I say yes 100% of the time. You do that. You get, let's say you get 70 million for Savinho, and you spend, I don't know, 80 to 90 on Rodrigo. That's a clear W, in my opinion. Clear upgrade for the here and now. Maybe Savinho eventually gets to that level, but like, I do think we need to relax a bit. Rodrigo is a multi-Champions League winning player who has scored more goals against us than Savinho has for us. So, like, maybe potentially Savinho gets there, but like, we only have a couple more years of Pep left. We need to maximize our time with Pep, I think. And if Pep thinks Rodrigo is the best for that position, we buy him. But I don't know that this not selling Savinho is directly a choice from Pep. It could be that we could not get the Rodrigo deal over the line. That's also possible. And they're spinning it as we decided to keep Savinho. That's a possibility. So I don't know. I think there's still 2 weeks left. There's more to come from that story for sure. Rico wants to stay, so that's a good thing. City need to show that they can be trusted on the pitch, also showing hunger to get minutes. I agree. I think Rico deserves to play next game out. I thought he was really good, man. I thought he was good. Lover or Glazer? I am both for Oscar Bob. What a baller that guy is. And listen to this, chat. Get this. Over a week ago, I purchased a jersey, a Man City kit, the black kit, with the 52 on the back. And I was so excited to reveal it on stream on the watch-along when Oscar Bob started. And it has been delayed and it's not here yet. So eventually when I get that, I will wear it for streams. But my Oscar Bob 52 kit is stuck somewhere, and they don't know where it is at the moment. So I'm still waiting, unfortunately. Fortunately, still waiting. We shall see. Now, like I was saying, guys, Galatasaray, Akanji, do we want this to be done? What do we think? My dog. Jeez. All right, back to this. Galatasaray approach City for Akanji. Galatasaray want to buy all our players, apparently. I do think this happens. My main theory on this is we just have too many center backs. We have 6 at the moment. 6 center backs is clearly too much. I have a fear John Stones or Aka get injured, and then we'll only have like 3 center backs fit again. It'll be Diaz, Gavardiol, and Kusanov. And those will be our only 3 fit center backs if we sell Akanji, which is why I wanted Vitor Hayes to stay and not go on loan, but who knows? It is what it is. I think 6 center backs is too much. Someone has to go. And if it's Akanji, it's Akanji. No big deal. It is what it is. So that's where I'm at least. I would, like to know your guys' thoughts on Akanji. I think most people probably are in agreement. They're fine should he go. And it is what it is with Akanji, because he's been good, a good investment for us as a whole. It's been solid. We decided to keep him, in quotes. Didn't we always want to keep him? But he seemed like he liked the move. That's true. The statements have always been, at least the reports have always been, we're not intent on selling him, and we would only sell if we could get the fee and get Rodrigo. So maybe that's where the problem is. Like I said, I'm not sure. Get him out. He was good, but it's time for Akanji. Yeah, good investment, good initial. We paid, I don't know, like 15, 20 million for him, and he's been a very solid squad player. I think he peaked probably really early and hasn't quite hit those peaks again, but it is what it is, man. I just think he's I think he's 30 now. We got to cash in while we can because it's just too many center backs at the moment, for sure. However, there is a follow-up I have here for sure about a specific player, Michael Elise, and my initial thoughts on if we don't get Rodrigo, this is where we go, I think, next year. I think back in July, I found this tweet today, Crystal Palace. Okay, well, this is the wrong tweet. Let me find the correct tweet. Give me a moment here. Pep said Nunes and Stones and Akanji are the right backs for the season. Did he say that? I don't recall seeing that. I mean, that's possible. Like, they could be fill-ins at right back, but I don't know that means Akanji can't leave for sure. I think it's still possible that he leaves. So I was talking about Elise, and Elise allegedly has a release clause in his contract for next year. There it is. Okay. This news came out the other day. Elise's contract at Bayern has a release clause active in 2026. This report that I read said it's active after the World Cup next summer. Premier League is a possible return, and Liverpool and City are his choices. Liverpool, obviously, I think everyone probably agrees, are going to lose Mo Salah to Saudi League, and Elise is going to be the best available right winger at the time. I guess you could say that Rodrigo maybe is still available if he hasn't left Madrid, and the choices at the time will be Elise or they'll be Rodrigo. So I don't know. It could be either way, but I think the thing is with Elise, he's a City academy. He would be homegrown player, and I would even go for Elise now. I think Elise is up there in quality. The guy is amazing. I love Elise. I would be thrilled if we were able to get Elise. So the only problem is you have to wait, and how do the wingers develop this season? How does Savinho do if he stays? Does he want to leave next year? Doku, does he get enough minutes? Does he impress? I don't know. So that's a thing to keep in mind, I think, is that Elise is one to watch for next season. Let me get back to some chats here. The Incredible, welcome to the stream. Bro, hope you're good. The problem that I have, I don't know if Rodrigo would flourish in the system that we play. Really, what's your question about Rodrigo? I feel like he would be fantastic in our system. I think he could play on the right, he could play on the left, he could play through the middle if needed. He's got incredible finishing. I think he's similar to Savinho in he's a pacey player, he's got dribbling ability, he's kind of, I don't want to say short, but he's not super tall. He's kind of sturdy to the ground. But the thing about him is he has fantastic finishing ability, which Savinho unfortunately does not have. So I think that is the clear separator for Rodrigo versus Savinho. And I don't think people think that Savinho's better than Rodrigo or anything, but in my opinion, he's an upgrade because of the ability to finish on the right or left foot. It's fantastic. Tony Murphy says, Akanji's third choice backup right back. So if we have to lose a center back, I prefer it be Ake. Well, on that same thought process, I mean, Ake is a backup left back as well. So, and Ake is maybe, it's a good point. It's a good point for sure. But Ake is probably a little bit more injury prone. So I think either one of them leaving would be fine, probably with me personally. I think Ake is a better player than Akanji. I don't know if you would agree, Tony. But in my personal opinion, Ake is more reliable defender, especially one-on-one in wide spaces. I think Ake, I'll put it this way, I think Ake is a better left back than Akanji is right back. I don't know if that's fair, but I feel like that's fair. And I think I'd rather see Kusanov play right back for the pace, personally. But that's just my opinion. All Things Football, there's 20 people in here right now. Appreciate that, guys. If you're new, hit me with a sub, a like, comment. Let me know where you're from. If you're a global City fan like me, do appreciate it. We also have a Discord in the channel description if you're interested. Akika says, I don't think City's signing anyone since Pep wants to keep everyone. It's a good comment. I feel that. I know that that's the case. I know people think we just stockpile players and whatnot. I think it's like Pep on one hand says, I want to trim the squad is too big. But on the other hand, he says, I love everyone and I cannot consider selling them. So I don't know. It's a tough one. I do think it's very likely that one of these Rodrigo Donnarumma deals happens over the next 10, 12 days, however long we have left. I don't know if they both happen. I'm a little bit less confident now in both of them happening, but I still think it's very possible that they both happen, even with the Savinho news. Ake's homegrown, we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot. That's also true. I didn't really think about that. Ake is technically a homegrown player, so maybe not the best idea to move him on, and Akanji opens up a non-homegrown spot, whereas Ake does not. Even though he's Dutch, I think he was in the Chelsea academy, pretty sure. Tony says, you make a good point on Ake being better, but right back is the position that we are weakest. That is probably also true. I agree that we're weak in the right back position, but at what point are you ready to give up on Rico Lewis at right back, Nunes at right back, maybe Kusanov at right back, maybe John Stones at right back, and put Akanji in at right back? I think Akanji on that list is at my bottom. I think he's fifth. I think he's fifth choice right back for me. He wouldn't be fifth choice right back probably for Pep, but because I really think Pep loves Akanji. I think he thinks he's reliable and like solid, I guess is a way I would say it. He's not particularly pacey. He's not incredible a passer. He's not an incredible defender, but he's like a rock solid, sturdy guy. And I think Pep just like loves that for some reason. Steven says, Tijani Reinders for player of the season. Bro, I hope so. He was in my prediction for signing of the season. I have Haaland for player of the season, but Tijani Reinders, player of the season, would be fantastic. Signing of the season for sure. I think that's definitely in the cards. I think he could get 10 plus goals in the league, and maybe more. I was thinking initially 10 plus goals in the league, but maybe that was undershooting it. I don't know. Pep had to have boned to most if the players at this point. That's why he's goalkeeping. Bro, you got me confused here. Pep's had to have boned to most if the players at this point. That's why he gatekeeping. Man, I'm lost. All things football. You put a lot of stuff in the chat, and I always read out your chats. But man, I'm lost here. I'm so lost here. Let's see here. Just retype your comment. Let me know what you mean, because you got me mad confused. Akiki says, who would you prefer to play in the attacking midfield position between Cherki and Foden? That is a fantastic question. If I had to choose, I'm probably leaning towards Cherki at the moment because I think Foden is a better winger than Cherki is winger. So you can have Foden on the right. I know you don't really probably like Foden on the left, but you could, if you need be, play Foden on the left. You could. I know you probably don't want to, but you could. And I haven't seen any of Cherki on the right. And as far as I know, all the appearances Cherki has made for City so far, whether it be that Palermo game, the game against Wolves, and in the Club World Cup, I think he was in the middle the whole time. And I was at the Orlando game against Al Hilal when he made the ball. He made the pass to Foden over the top. And I think that pass is something that's so difficult that we just, I don't know, we just like don't have in our squad. And that was like a KDB type ball. And I don't mean to say that he's KDB because he's not. Nobody's KDB. But when he's in that area, he's got that just incredible ability to bend it right, left. I don't know. I feel like Foden doesn't have that. Foden is more of a turn and shoot, whereas Cherki might be a turn and like find others. So I would lean Cherki just like a little bit. But I think you could even have a midfield where they're both like dual 10s, potentially. I would have to look at that, but I think you could do that. The nameless one, welcome to the chat, says, we need Livramento. It's a tough one, man. It's tough because Livramento, by all accounts, is supposed to be England's right back for the next 10 years. However, should he be the most expensive right back of all time transfer? No, he should not. So if Newcastle are asking for that money for 75 million to beat the Akanji deal, I don't know that it's fair that City do that. Do I care if City do it? No, I don't care. I don't care if we spent 100 million on Livramento. It is what it is. It's not my money. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. But realistically, when we're speaking, are City going to spend that money? I think they are not. There was some news out there about Newcastle wanting Rico Lewis as well, and there may be some sort of Rico Lewis plus cash type thing, but I haven't seen that develop at all. I heard that over a week ago, and there's been nothing. It was all Forrest and Rico, so I don't think that one's happening, unfortunately. Cherky and put Foden on the right wing. So yeah, that's what I think as well. I think Foden is great in the 10. He's got that quick turn ability. I don't even know what you call that, but the way he can receive the ball and change angles and shoot, it's incredible. But he doesn't really have the ping the ball all over the place trait, I guess I would say. Bonded. You meant bonded. Okay. Pep has bonded to the most players. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. That's probably true. He's just been here for a decade, so that's kind of how it goes. Donnarumma looks most likely to happen. Now, Savinho stays. You think, Steven? You think Donnarumma? I think Donnarumma is more likely. I also would agree with that. I don't know that I agree with Savinho staying personally. I hope it's not the case. I think if a player is so open to the move that he's out of the matchday squad because of the transfer talks, I think his head has been turned. I think it's fair to say. He's definitely more than open to it. He's engaging in the move happening. So I don't know how, maybe it's difficult to come back from that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how people would feel about him in the locker room. I guess everybody's a professional, so they wouldn't really care. They want to do what's best for themselves. So maybe it's not a big deal, but I don't know. It feels like Savinho saw the Oscar Bob wave of talent coming in, and he's running away from it, which I don't personally like. I feel like you should back yourself. But is it possible that Oscar Bob has just been otherworldly in training, and Savinho's sitting there how am I going to play? I can't compete. I cannot compete. Maybe. And then you can't blame the guy if he's moving to try and go play for Brazil in the World Cup because he missed the last squad. The other argument is he played 3,000 plus minutes last year at City, and he just didn't score because if he had finishing ability, he would have played. So I don't know, man. It's a difficult one. I think if Savinho had this mentality of I want to fight for my place and stay, blah, 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 but then we come to find out that Spurs are willing to give him $250 a week or whatever, and City don't want to pay that, then it's a little bit more I kind of understand. It is what it is. It's no big deal. But it seems, I hesitate to say soft, but it seems semi-soft, if that's fair to say. I mean, maybe I'm being a little harsh, but it seems like that in my opinion. However, by all accounts, if we keep the squad the way it is, I don't think it's something that we need to worry too much about, in all honesty, guys, because Oscar Bob cooked, Reinders cooked. We didn't even have Rodri, we didn't have Foden, and we cooked. So I don't know. I think we'll be okay. I think Rodrigo might fit Liverpool's system better than City. Liverpool plays similar to Madrid. Speed, counterattack, break on you, City suffocate you. This is a fair comment. I see what you mean by that. Maybe I just think Rodrigo is so good in general that he could fit anywhere. And maybe I'm being overhyping Rodrigo a bit, but that could be the case. But I get that. I get that. That's good. The nameless one. Donnarumma wage demand is too high, 250K. That's why PSG is getting rid of him. I saw an agreement that it was going to be around 200 for Man City, which again, is well up there in wage for a goalie. I want to say Ederson's on around like 120. So going into 200 is pretty crazy. But maybe Pep really thinks this guy is the best goalie in the world. That's possible too. Like, the wage is what it is. I wouldn't be too concerned about the wage. We dropped a bunch of wage off the bill this transfer window. Kev was on like 400. Grealish was on a lot. I still paying some of Grealish's, but we dumped a lot of that wage off the bill. So we have some money to play with. Tony says there's a tweet out of Spurs which would suggest Savinho deal isn't dead yet, but who knows what you can trust. This is how I feel, Tony. This is how I feel. I don't know what's truth and what's not truth, because it's incredible to me that like 2 days ago this deal was happening, and then today with 12 days left in the window, we're like, nah, it's dead. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I think it's all because we play them at the weekend, and they don't want to negotiate during this week here, so maybe there's no news until next week, which would suck because I need news for myself. I need news. I want to know what's going on, just like you guys want to know what's going on. Akiki says, I think Man City will struggle this season, so they don't have a proper right back and goal scoring wingers. Well, I would say we actually do have goal scoring wingers. We have Oscar Bob, who is unproven, fair to say unproven, but looks quality. I predict he'll get 10 plus goals, 10 plus assists this season in all comps. That's good enough for a one of our wingers. We have Omar Marmoush, who scored, I think, 30 goals in all comps last season. He's a goal scoring. I know he's not really a winger, but we play him on the left. So that will achieve a lot of goals for me, I think. Then you have Jeremy Doku, who is more of a goal scorer than Savinho is. Not a great goal scorer, really, but I think it's fair to say he could get between 8 and 12 goals. You're also going to get more goals out of midfield this season. You're going to have Reinders, who looks to be a guy that could get 10 plus goals. You have Cherky, you have Foden back on form, you have Rodri coming back to the squad. Maybe Rodri takes a bit of time, but he does score goals from the midfield. So I think City will be good. Right back could be an issue, but Rico Lewis looks good. Nunez looks all right. Could be our downfall. We definitely, I think, should improve the right back spot, but I think we got enough goals for sure, in my opinion. Spurs have to cough up the cash. If not, they could kick rocks. Hey, that's probably how Hugo Viana is negotiating this deal. He says, this is the price. We want what we want, and if you pay it, you can have him. I think Hugo Viana is not a guy that like plays around, It's kind of how I feel, at least. Let's see here. Don't know the reliability of the source, says Tony. The guy that said the news about Savinho today was Guillermo, however you say his name, Balak, and he's very good friends with Pep Guardiola. From my understanding, he helped write Pep's book. So I'm not sure why Pep would be telling him that at the moment. That's what seems confusing to me. Because like I said, we have time. There's still so much time. Who says Spurs are not going to up their bid to get the money, I don't know. Seems unlikely that the deal has died already. I don't believe it. I don't believe it to this point. I need more news. City Extra put out something that said Alex Crooks and Ben Jacobs also reported it, but I haven't seen that actual report come out. So I don't know. I don't know. Steven says Marmoush plays as an inside forward with Haaland coming deep, then Marmoush runs off of him. Correct. This is true. But I still think it's fair to say that if you're saying we don't get enough goals from our wingers, I think you can count Marmoush's goals as goals from wingers, because when Marmoush plays, like, even if he ends up as an inside forward, he's the guy who starts, like, if you look at the lineup sheet at left wing, even if he's not like an out and out left winger like Grealish was, so I think Marmoush could get 25 goals all comps. Haaland could get 50, like Bob 10, Doku 8, Savinho 5. That's a lot of goals, in my opinion. Plus, you got the midfield goals, like I said. Reinders, Rodri. Gavardi will get a couple. Maybe Rico Lewis gets 4. Ait Nori, 2. And then I don't know. I feel like offensively we will be good. I think if we don't win the league, it will be because either injuries occurred and we didn't have the squad for it, or defensively we were not solid enough. But offensively, I think we got goals. I think goals are like one thing we'll be actually very, very good at. Personally, I am now over refreshing Twitter just to see if there was any more bombazzos or anything going on. I don't see anything at the moment, so we are approaching 45 minutes. We do have 21 people in here, which is awesome. I really do appreciate it, guys. If you're new, hit the sub button. It really helps me out. I'm going for 500. I'm on the way to 500 subs, so hopefully I'll get there soon. On Wednesday night, I will be doing another episode of Stateside Blues over on the Mancunian Way channel. If you want to check that out, I'll be on the panel again. And in my description, I have links to all my socials and the Discord, which is just a bunch of bros hanging out talking Man City. So check that out if you're interested. I do appreciate 20 plus people in here. It's awesome. I do other stuff like Watchalongs. I do videos, short form, TikTok, all that. So much appreciated, guys. I'm gonna hop out here for tonight. It was a good chat with the boys. Hopefully there's some more transfer news tomorrow, and I can go live again tomorrow around the same time, around 7 o'clock-ish Eastern time, because I am located in the U.S., if you couldn't tell by my accent. So anyway, I do appreciate it. I will